Maharaji turned to us one day and said, "Did you read his book?" And I go, "Not me. We're all like, what book?" And he kept saying, his book. And someone said, "You mean the Bible? The Old Testament?" "Yeah, that book." I thought we were coming to a Hindu guru. And that's my famous story of asking him, here's a good note to end on, how do you meditate? And I was really saying, can I have a mantra? I figured it's the right thing to do in the right place, right? You meditate like Christ. He was lost in love. He felt no pain. He was one with everyone. Something like that, right? Mm-hmm. And so next day we went back with Ram Dass. He wasn't there that day. And I said, "Ram Dass, you ask him because you have a more convivial relationship, you know him." And he said, "Okay, how did Christ meditate?" And then Maharaji just went back, closed his eyes, and tears came down his cheeks. And we were all like stunned, in this moment. And he said, "You don't understand. Over and over and over, you don't understand. You don't."
Welcome to the Do You Feel Heard podcast, a production of Helping the Herd. Helping the Herd is committed to empowering individuals to liberate themselves from the patterns that keep them from creating their ideal life. If you like this podcast, visit helpingtheherd.com to find resources and personalized coaching to empower you to be your best self.
Hello. Welcome to the Do You Feel Heard podcast. All right. We have a very special episode today, joined by my co-host Ian, as always, and our very special guest, Raghu Markus. Raghu, thanks for being on the podcast.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.
We've been looking forward to this a lot. A lot of our listeners are already going to know you, but I always like to give our guests a little chance at an introduction, any way that you like to introduce yourself to possibly this new audience.
Well, I guess I have a number of different hats. One of them is the director of Love Serve Remember Foundation, which is Ram Dass's foundation. And then, of course, we have a podcast network. So I have a hat in there, too, the podcast called Mindrolling that I've been doing for quite a number of years at this point. And what else? The other thing is all the wonderful chance that I have had to produce some super connective documentaries. One with Ram Dass, and then two others. One just absolutely just hot off the griddle is they were mentors of ours, these two beings. One was named K.K. Shah. So when we all went back to India with Ram Dass, when he went back the second time, so we were introduced into a family through Neem, Karoli. And one of these beings was K.K. Shah. It was like Ram Dass's best Indian brother, just ever. I mean, he died. They died within 3 weeks of each other. That's how close they were.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, and the other was K.C. Tiwari, who was like an advanced high yogi, but he was in the guise of a teacher, of headmaster at a school in the foothills of the Himalaya. But Maharaji used to have him in samadhi, deep absorbed trance. He just looked at him, it was. So this man was so tuned in, and he eventually was told by Maharaji, "You take care of the Westerners," because he really understood mind. He was an incredible being. So I got a chance to do that. So very fortunate to be able to continue to do what I've done for a long, long time, which is be a producer.
Yeah, I love the gratitude there, and incredible things. Can't recommend your podcast enough. Mindrolling, always lucky. I think I found you through, as many people, through Ram Dass. I think I found Ram Dass through Duncan Trussell. Good old Duncan. He comes up everywhere, and it's such a beautiful gift, the sharing of this wisdom, this different perspectives sometimes for our culture. And I can't tell you. We could do multiple hours me telling you how it's changed my life, and I bet you get that a lot. So I love that you still say grateful for that opportunity to be part of something really special. Again, I think a lot of our listeners will have an idea, but if you don't, check out Raghu, check out these documentaries, check out Mindrolling. We'll be, of course, linking to all this. And Love, Serve, Remember Foundation. I first met you at one of the meditation retreats, the Ram Dass Legacy retreats. Truly special, a truly special thing.
In Boone, or I don't remember.
I was in Maui that time. Maui. Back in 2021, the first one after Ram Dass passed. The first one where we scattered the ashes. It was a powerful time. So, no, you're doing some wonderful things. Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you for that. And of course, we're going to link to everything. But to kick it off, I wanted to start with a really small question. Really basic. What is enlightenment? Tongue in cheek, of course. What is enlightenment, Raghu? Let's start there. And I think you already know where I might try to lead us to after that, from what we talked about. But what's enlightenment?
The slightest idea, Derrick, what enlightenment is. Honestly, and people ask, not that exactly maybe, but questions around liberation and so on. And people read books and here, enlightened master here, enlightened guru there, all of it. And that becomes a goal of some sort, because we're in the West. We have goals. And in reality, I mean, any feedback that I would give to anybody would be more about get yourself, your heart, straightened out, get rid of the polarization, and that's a lifetime of work. Spiritual practice and just conscious work and mindfulness and so on. And then be able to do as Ram Dass suggested so often, radiate your being in love with whoever you come into contact with. That's enlightenment.
Fantastic. All right. And the place I was going to lead us is that fantastic course that you told me about when we met at the Psychedelic Sciences Conference. The newest offering from Love, Serve, Remember, the enlightenment is intimacy with all things, is another answer to that question that I really like. And whenever I was telling you about the work we do with Helping the Herd, one thing we do is intimacy and communication coaching. And go hand in hand. And that was kind of the connection. So I've been going through the course. Yet again, can't recommend it enough. This isn't just a plug. I'm going through it now. I got to hear your opener, and I'm a few days in, and fantastic stuff as always. Archival footage from, or at least audio from Ram Dass, Alan Watts people, along with new, discussions and things bringing it into the culture now. Can't recommend it enough. But of course, I've just been, ruminating on this for a while. We've been, Ian especially has a long history now of teaching intimacy. He brought me into this coaching work, yet another hat I wear on top of medicine and meditation and a few other things. And it's fascinating. So enlightenment is intimacy with all things. I hadn't heard it till just this year. Can you speak more on that and how that course, why is it intimacy with all things?
The actual best way I can reference this, because it's beyond rational. Intimacy is beyond rational mind process. Is so one of the things in this course, Intimacy with All Things, which is on our wonderful, fairly new platform, Inner Academy, which is on Mighty Networks. You go to ramdass.org, you'll be able to navigate it. But I think it may even be the last piece of content that we put there. I remember it very specifically because it's Ram Dass talking about he went to swim with the dolphins. And there was a dolphin named Rosie and her partner, and I don't remember what it was, Rosie, that he was really connecting with. And he was just mind blown. I mean, I think he even said it was like a trip, psychedelic trip. And at one point, this is the whole essence of it, at one point, he was getting tired and cold in the pool, in a very, very big pool. But he didn't want to leave. They were taking him around. He was holding on to them. I mean, it was just spectacular. And he had that thought, cold and whatever. He was cold, and I don't want to leave. The dolphin, both of them came, and they took him to where he could get out of the pool. Okay. So he said this was nothing. I mean, this kind of intuitive, even that doesn't fully say it, because it's like a thing that's in tune with everything. And so all those things become self-evident as they're needed. This is what Neem Karoli is about. And this is, so Ram Dass said, the only other time I experienced something like this, where I completely knew I was being taken care of and directed in a way that was absolutely for my best, however you want to put it. So he said, that's that kind of, the connection there between this dolphin and that experience and Neem Karoli it blew his mind. I mean, he just wasn't prepared at all to experience that thing, which, whatever you want to, the enlightened thing, if you want to go back to that, that was self-evident in this album.
Yeah, fantastic.
So intimacy is, they say in India, a true guru, what are the attributes? One of them, and this Maharaji said, Neem Karoli Baba said to us, Antarayami is a quality that you would want to know that whoever you're in relation to as that revered teacher, guru. And it means knower of all hearts. So it means they know everything of your past, everything of your present, and everything in the future. When I first met Neem Karoli Baba, the moment that he walked out of his room to sit down on his tucket, that was my first thought. Oh shit, I know you. It wasn't like new. I mean, I'd seen pictures of him, of course I haven't. But I know you, and I've known you forever before, and I'll know you forever after. So I'm done. Of course, I was way from being done. But I was also 24 or something. So, but that, it's that intimacy where you are engaged completely outside of your mental stuff. Through the intuitive, the Tibetans would call it pure mind. We the Hindus, just enlightened heart. It's all the same. And that is the intimacy. So to do that in every relation would be, the ask, of course, it's a lifetime of, going through that. But it's really important, because when you start to act from that place, from the spiritual heart, Ram Dass calls loving awareness place, and you're not judging everything, yourself and everything else, and you're not reacting and paying attention to the mind stories and so on. From that place, you can engage with people in an intimacy that's beyond duality, beyond polarization.
Well, thank you. Wow, I love that connection to knowing. Intimacy is knowing. And Ian, could you help bridge us?
Not the knowing. As soon as you say knowing, we're thinking, okay.
Yeah.
Your mind, but no, intimacy is the knowing beyond the mind. So experiential, intuitive, those kind of. It's very difficult to describe it and describe it.
Those who know do not speak. Those who speak do not know. Yeah. Of course, I love it. Ian, how have you approached intimacy through your coaching, and what's kind of the bridge to this idea?
Yeah, I definitely resonate a lot with this idea that Raghu's speaking to. And actually, I was listening to Raghu, your conversation with Duncan Trussell, where you were both speaking to Ram Dass's
I guess, perspective that love is unconditional, or I guess maybe not to use the word should, but ideally love is unconditional. We love everyone. No one needs to be worthy of love or earn our love. We love all people, all sentient beings, because that's the thing to do, not because we've judged them and deemed them worthy or unworthy of love. And that level of intimacy, I think, for a lot of people seems maybe foreign, maybe unattainable, maybe something that's, more of that's a great idea, sure, unconditionally, yeah, sounds good, but then you get behind the wheel of the car and then immediately, I don't love that person the way they're driving that car, or I don't love this. And so I'm curious to turn the question to you, Raghu, of do you have any suggestions or any methods for getting to that place for those people who are maybe in that mindset of, yeah, sure, what a good idea, let's love everybody unconditionally, but when it comes to actually living it, it becomes much more difficult to really do that in real time while engaging with people, because we're humans and we're flawed and we have all sorts of reactions and triggers and all these things. And so do you have any suggestions or any methods that you utilize to be in that loving awareness all the time and to love all things unconditionally?
Yes, stop striving to be unconditionally loving it all the time, because it's just not going to happen. No, you got to just one foot in front of the other. You gotta. You don't have to do anything, but it might
That's
help
right.
to really address mindfulness. Start there, because
Yeah.
then you get to see your self-interested motivations all the time. In every which way. And by the way, you say, well, people haven't really experienced it. It's not quite true. Just think of yourself falling in love with somebody in that moment, and it may only last a week or something, but in the moment that you have this feeling for this other person, you would do anything for them, right? Absolutely anything. You put them first and yourself second. That's unconditional. And it's ephemeral, especially relative to a romantic excursion, shall we say. But it shows it is there. It is possible. It is absolutely possible to live in that place. We were fortunate. We got to see a being who was in that place, is in that place all the time. So having that example, okay, it's a human body, even though we don't know where the hell it came from. It's real. It can happen. For us, it can happen. And Ram Dass really proved it out. He was told by Neem Karoli Baba, Ram Dass, tell the truth and love everyone and tell the truth. Right? And he said, appropriately, truth is, I don't love everyone. By the end of his life in Maui, after that horrible stroke and all of that, he did get to that place. I personally witnessed it. He absolutely, and what does that mean? It meant that everybody who he encountered, every individual, he stopped whatever his world was up to that point. Whatever he was thinking about, with another phone call, another person, whatever. He completely stopped in that moment, which is what happened when I first met him, decades and decades ago, and went to India with him. Not with him, but at the same time. In that moment, everything stopped, and I knew that there was no Richard Alpert, there was no Ram Dass. There was just, what do you need? What did I need in, like being in a hot tub and you completely let go, right? I said, okay, and it was that simple. And so that is, we go in and out of this stuff all the time. And we get into periods where we are just so separate from everything, ourselves and everybody, that it gets really difficult to actually be in that pool with that person and completely unconditional about love. And again, it's spiritual love we're talking about. Without that, no relationship is going to go anywhere, obviously. So that past example is partial, but at least it does show. I was with a few years ago, a Baba in India, and he's become a friend. He's just this wonderful, meditating in caves when he was 11, all that usual stuff you hear about in India, which is so great. But somebody did say, what about love? We don't know love in America. We are so transactional.
Mm-hmm.
And he actually said that it's a good start. Just kind of what I was saying. You get to feel that place where you are not thinking about yourself first. That's a big jump right there. And how do you get there, as you were saying earlier? You got to practice. There's just no way out of it. You got to practice. I mean, mindfulness, meditation, chanting, being with the community who all have that same desire to get out of the maelstrom of this constant feeling of opposition, polarity, division. I mean, look at this country right now. It's just a reflection of who we are as people. Yeah, I think it's where you get. It's not, and thinking, okay, I'm going to become an unconditional lover of everything. It's not going to happen, but something will happen, where you stop reacting to people the way you might have been reacting, like getting angry at what's coming to you, phenomena and so on. And that's what's happened to me. I'm a little bit more spacious about this over these years of doing work. So now I'm not condemning myself quite the way that I was. It works. It does work, but it takes practice.
Yeah, I think it's a trap.
Absolutely.
Trying to seek that perfection of 100% of the time I'm going to be this thing, because then you're kind of setting yourself up for failure. Whereas as long as you're striving toward it, it's a constant, process of growth and, evolution of yourself as you get closer and closer. But maybe you never get there, but that's part of it. That's part of the practice.
But you're getting there. You're getting there. Becoming a better human being.
Right,
becoming
right.
kinder, more compassionate. You definitely get it.
Yeah, compassion. That's one of the things I wanted to bring up. A great teaching from Ramdev Del Borglum, who's actually we're very lucky he's going to be on the podcast next week. He had a segment in one of the first weeks of the intimacy course, and he said something along the lines of healing happens at the intersection of embodied mindfulness and compassion. Healing happens at the intersection of embodied mindfulness and compassion. And as someone in the healing profession, I just really, been chewing on that one. And I think you could almost replace intimacy there as well, to tie it back into intimacy. Intimacy happens at that. But I love that you're being so grounded with, it's not that you have to have the guru. It's not that you have to have this. It's truly, it does start with mindfulness. And I love the word embodied mindfulness. When I think intimacy, I do think of the hot tub. I think of the hot tub often. I think about that, whatever that weird barrier is at the end of us and our skin where we separate from another, and how a hot tub always. I actually met Ramdev in a hot tub at the Maui retreat. He was the first person I met at the retreat. Didn't even know he was one of the presenters or anything. And we're just all chatting in the hot tub. It's such a great equalizer. It's such a great way to kind of, all right, we're all in our swim trunks and we're all in the same waters, we're all just people. I really love that. And so I think there's something really about that. We just try to skip it, like you keep pointing to, the intellectual mind, the knowing. I have to plan. I have to get there conceptually. It's almost it is a lifelong goal, I'm sure, a lifelong journey to find a way to live with that mind and get to the mindfulness, get it embodied, get it, somewhere. What does Duncan always say that Ram Dass told him? We have to get you from here, pointing to his head, to here, pointing to his heart.
By the way, my definition of the hot tub had nothing to do, had no people in it. by the way.
Don't keep one at a time.
Then other intimacies can happen when you have people together in a hot tub. But no, this was about when I met Ram Dass. That, I mean, I always refer to it that because there's a letting go that happens in that incredible water, and that letting go is what really is a precursor to the kind of mindfulness that's not coming from your head, and judging everything. So the letting go muscle happens to really work well in a hot tub.
That's right. And when I think about intimacy, I think about what's needed for that. Again, coming from the relationship perspective, and then really tying it in with this idea of enlightenment being intimacy with all things. What are the conditions needed for intimacy then? And I think about safety. I think about trust. And I think about letting go, surrender. That same thing that you're talking about here is just what you need in interpersonal relationship to, have whatever emotional or other intimacy with a person. It's the same thing if you want to be intimate with all things. I find that quote so clarifying because I can almost see these relationships around me, my relationship to the chair, my relationship to the table, and where am I having boundaries? Where am I connected? Where am I intimate? Where am I close? Yeah.
Exactly.
A question that popped in my head for you, Raghu, when I heard you say to getting into that hot tub solo, there's a feeling of just release, of just letting go and just allowing, and not resisting, not trying to, your muscles don't have to hold themselves up, hold your body up, or you can just be. I was curious. What I heard when I heard that, I was reminded of some of my experiences of relaxing and releasing into the flow of things, into the flow of life, the currents of the universe or God pulling or pushing me in a certain direction, and doors opening and opportunities in this direction or that. I'm curious about your experience with that. Do you have experience with tapping into, and you may use different words, but the currents or the energies, the flows of this life that you are leading and the direction that you're going? Do you have experience of letting go and releasing and kind of feeling intuitively what you're supposed to be doing versus from the mind?
That's a big question. What comes to mind is that one of the practices that I do that's really one of what we brought back from India, from Neem Karoli Baba, was kirtan, chanting. Krishna Das, of course, Derrick, you've experienced that. That is the most important way. Is that the right word? Important. It's the most connective way that I get in the hot tub. Is through that for an extended period of time, and it's fail-safe. It happens all the time. I mean, I'm particularly attuned to it. I would imagine. I mean, music was everything for me in the earlier part of my life, and here's something which combines that with mantras that actually do something, even if you have no awareness of what that really means and the vibrations and all that. And I was never really interested in that. So yeah, that is one major way of the letting go, of the complete relaxation. And and in the end, it's about the mind. It's about no longer being a slave to the thoughts, the habitual patterns, the neurotic tendencies, the story. Duncan and I did that audio book, the movie of me to the movie of we. And we used ourselves as a way for people to identify that movie of me that we all have, and move on from there into, we're describing Ram Dass in the end. He truly did love everyone and was able to tell the truth. And he got into that place. So again, another example of the possibilities of everything. Mm-hmm. But once you stop thinking about yourself, and that happens through practice, or joy, can be just in the moment of joy, you know. Once that happens, things become so much easier and so much more in flow, which is what you were referring to.
Mm. Yeah, it's like stream entry. I think about that a lot. I feel like I try not to have too ambitious of goals. So whenever why do people ask, why do you meditate? Why do you teach meditation? What's the point? You know, I'm not one of the ones like, for enlightenment. Seems a little lofty, but one thing that I can point to that I think is really accurate for me.
Is what it really is.
Naive as well, and maybe not the good kind of naive. There's good not knowing and there's bad not knowing. But stream entry is one of the goals I can really point to at this stage of my life. I want to feel in flow more of the time and find a way in which I'm aligned, that I'm entering into a stream with my community around me, the path that I'm on. I think about stream entry a lot, and I can't think about that and not think about your Midnight Gospel appearance, Duncan Trussell in Pendleton Ward's show, where you have a wonderful episode appearance with Anne Lamont and Duncan, where you guys are all literally in a stream in these tubes being moved around as a meat. Sounds so crazy to say. You got to see the show, everyone, if you haven't. As a meat stream.
Still, by the way?
Oh, absolutely. Still on Netflix. Oh, yeah. Oh yeah, people would riot if they took that off Netflix. It's very beloved. If you go into, in that community, it's meant a lot to me. So many of the teachings, that are in that and the way it's presented, people would absolutely riot if they took it off that. They get a lot of requests for season 2. And Duncan said he's considering it. Whenever I talked to him at a retreat in New York not too long ago, they're still considering it. So Midnight Gospel fans, you've heard it here. There's hope. Hopefully Raghu will be back.
Whoever.
Absolutely. Email, letter, whatever you need. A lot of pigeons, carrier pigeons until they can't ignore us. But you guys are literally meat streaming through tubes. So crazy to say. And I think of intimacy so much with that. You guys are all just eyeballs and mouths rolling around in this stream of matter. And for me, that one thing it's pointing toward, it's such a complex show, is that stream entry. And I don't know, do you use that term, Raghu, or does it activate anything for you?
That term, my first encounter with that term was getting into Vipassana meditation. Are you aware of that practice?
Yeah,
Joseph
I've done it.
Goldstein. Yeah.
I've done one 10-day retreat. It was incredible.
Yeah. We all, not all, but most of us, without Maharaji didn't say, go do this or that, ever. In fact, mostly we'd say, oh, I want to go to this meditation course in Bodh Gaya. Oh, excellent, go. It was a way of getting rid of us. And we'd come back, and this is what we're talking about, this kind of a being. We'd come back, and we were at the meditation course. And, yeah. He said, you learned how to meditate? And we went, yeah, we did. He said, well, show me. So we all sat up straight, closed our eyes, and went into the most ridiculous meditative posture. And within 30 seconds, we heard his high-peeled laughing at him going, look, they know how to meditate. This was our reality. So, but there is stream entry is when it's a state that happens through meditative process. You actually see 6 or 9 inches away from the end of your nose a blue pearl-like object within yourself. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the side effects, shall we say, of stream entry. But what stream entry is, you can never go back to being ignorant of anything in your life. You have, that you are in it. You are not going back. And I would say most of us had, I actually know one of us that had that experience of stream entry and actually saw the blue. It was amazing. But most of us, more to the point of your question, by doing the right thing and in terms of community and the teaching and everything that you're doing, we all, from the moment after we met Neem Karoli, he said to me, "What do you do in America?" And I was like, okay, how do I say it? I was like the program director of a major rock and roll station in Montreal. And he, before I could even think of an answer, in English, which he supposedly didn't speak, he went, "Broadcaster." That was it for my life. It was it before I got there. Obviously, he was just reinforcing the reality of what that is for me. And but most of us felt like, okay, we were in the stream, even as cockamamie as we were, with the kind of mental craziness that young men and women, had. Yeah, and I would say the same to you. Sitting here with you guys, you're already there. You're stream entering. You entered the stream. It's not like, and you can't go back now through the kind of ignorance and polarity of, the life that you led before, where you had no idea that there was a way to be fulfilled and happy.
Oh wow, that's clarifying. Saying that first, thank you, and also it's so simple though. It really is the grasping. I'm looking for, when I say stream entry, some part of me is grasping for ease, like you're in the water, you're floating down river, and there's no hardship because you always know you're in the right place and things aren't difficult. There's no friction. What kind of fairy tale is that? Just because you're doing the right thing. Maybe because you're doing the right thing, there will be adversity. Because you're doing the right thing, there will be friction. So that's already very clarifying. And I'm very surprised to hear about the Blue Pearl. That thing is something that I experienced when I first started meditating and had no idea, no concept for it. Never really talked to a few people about it. Never heard anything much. I don't know if I've talked to you about it, and I'll have to hear if you've heard anything like this. And it wasn't until 2021, the Ram Dass meditation retreat.
I'm so sorry.
No worries.
My power supply, my power supply got screwed up, so I had to.
You lost power in a way as well.
So
What's going on
I lost
with all
power.
Of this?
It's you
what
guys.
Is happening?
It's not me. That's so weird.
Yeah.
Figured.
Yep. All right. Yep. I'll hop back in just because I'm too curious not to. So yeah, when I was at the meditation retreat in 2021, in the hot tub, guy named Kevin. He actually ended up becoming Kevin from the hot tub in my phone because I never found out his last name. And I was telling all my friends about him at the retreat. And eventually on the last day, my other group of friends met up with him and they were all like, "Kevin from the hot tub." And this guy was like, "Who are all these people?" But he was actually doing a series of interviews and podcasts with people about that very thing you're talking about. This blue purple dot.
Oh, yeah.
And he didn't couch it in terms of stream entry at that point. But I was so curious because I did have that experience when I first started meditating. Tried to explain it in a lot of scientific ways. I'm in medicine. Maybe I'm just finally paying attention to my visual field. And so maybe this was always there. But I would start asking around and not really much there. Raghu, have you experienced this dot thing and do you still see this?
Nope.
Interesting.
I mean,
not in the stream yet.
Yeah, I've had obviously other experiences, but no, never the blue dot. But also he wasn't either, I don't think, in terms of, open third eye or any of that. I had no idea. But no, it didn't happen. And here we are.
And here we are anyway. Ian, any experiences like that?
I can't say that I have witnessed the blue dot. You're an anomaly,
The
Derrick.
blue
You're one of the
pearl.
few.
Apparently, Kevin wanted to interview about it. Got to get back in that hot tub and find him.
Just start
No, I
searching
like that.
hot tubs around the country until you find Kevin. He'll be in one.
That's what the lore says. He's always in a hot tub. For those who are looking with a pure heart and an open mind, you'll find Kevin in the hot tub. That's fantastic. Well, since we're still on the stream, I have to ask, like, what was it like working on Midnight Gospel, Raghu? What was it like being a floating eyeball there, and what was your experience of what it was really an impactful show for me? And I'm not going to speak for anyone else, but really, and I've seen a lot of other people.
Just fun, tons of fun. What else can I say? You know, Duncan, it's fun.
Love it.
And the show was fun, and the people they had on it, and you know, doing the voiceovers, that was fun. Yeah, and so many people opening up in a certain way by virtue of the genre, his mind, the partner he worked with. So, you know, that was delightful to see that kind of the way in which a piece of media worked so powerfully. Yeah, I can't believe, it's Netflix, so, they don't care. They get they have some way of establishing, and it's completely algorithm oriented, whether they should re-up a show. They actually did talk to him at one point, but the conversation never went anywhere. So who knows? This is, it's one of those cult hits, basically.
Yeah. I don't know about never. It hasn't went anywhere yet. I'm holding on hope desperately. It was wonderful. And I loved your. I rewatched it not too long ago, and just I love picking out when you had to do something scripted, because almost all of it is taken from podcasts previously, the conversations done, but they'll throw in a few things. So I love when I got to the point of, hey, that kid took my eyeball. And I was going through, I wonder if Raghu ever said that in a podcast. Probably not.
No.
Probably not.
I also probably tried to change some of that. That didn't work, but whatever.
Fantastic. What a great show. Your appearance will be well remembered.
Raghu, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've accomplished so many things that you've set out to accomplish, from your days with Neem Karoli Baba and Ram Dass and all of these experiences that you've had and journeys that you've gone on. I'm curious if you have any things that you're striving to accomplish now. Do you have anything that you're working on or working toward that you're wanting to bring into this world or bring to people that you haven't yet?
This film that I just finished with co-director and editor, it's called Bridge of Grace, The Gift of K.K. Shah. This was such a unique person in terms of the breadth of his bhakti. Okay. And there's many different ways that bhakti can be expressed through traditional Hindu methodology. And he had a particular aspect that was so far out. It was like nobody could possibly, they would never have met a person like this unless through a film or something like this. Or many Westerners used to go see him. He lived in Nainital, which was this beautiful resort town that the British built to get out of the heat in the summers. And it was the gateway to a region in the foothills of the Himalayas called the Kumaon. And actually, KK did a book that we published called Deva Bhumi, means land of the gods. They had more siddhas. So I'm getting into a whole digression from what you're asking, but so there's many saints in India, and they're doing good works. And Amachi, the hugging saint, if you've heard of her, from South India, really. She's quite famous and has a big following, and she does really good works and so on. And so, but loosely, saints are known. People think, okay, they were enlightened beings, and that's not true necessarily. There may be, but what KK told us he was involved in a family. I mean, he was the son of a father. You guys will be able to see this film, and we should have it available shortly.
Fantastic.
His father was elected by the British to be the police constable to go check on the most holy temples in the Himalayas. Kedarnath and Badrinath, they are called. They're incredible pilgrimage spots. And in doing so, he would meet incredible yogis. And one he met, whose name is Hirakan Baba, he left in 1922 or something like that. There was a few of them like him, Neem Karoli Baba being another one. There was like 4 of them that were part of our orbit in that Maharaji was very connected to them. And KK used to say, out of 100 saints, there may be one Siddha. So a Siddha, they don't teach, they don't write books, they don't give talks, they just be and take care of whoever comes and sits in front of them. And so this region had these amazing beings. And before, we're talking about the last 150 years, but even before that, many beings in this area became very prominent actors in the realm of the kind of help that humans do need. So, anyhow, this was just an extraordinary region. So, basically, doing a movie that included all of that now won't get lost. It has lots of incredible footage, pictures, and all of it, and stories. I mean, as I said, from the earliest age, he was through his father. If he wasn't meeting him because he wasn't alive yet, he was hearing direct first-hand stories in which he made this. So this book was made out of these first-hand stories and this film. And being able to do that and have that go out. And he, I was personally very close to him, as was Krishnas and a number of others of us from back then. We were taken to his home. He took us in like family. It was a whole other way of being that we had no idea about, given our past in America, Canada, whatever, North America. And so to be able to get that out and all of the kind of ideas that suggested was incredible. So when you ask, what I have other things that I'm thinking about that we're going to do, I'm sure. But, we have a wonderful book coming out, Ram Dass' new book called There Is No Other. It's coming out in October in Harper. And that is a book about how do we get through this polarization, division, how do we become whole again, how do we do it within ourselves and without. So that's an important thing that's happening now. So, those couple of things right in the moment are, they mean a lot to me. And I feel a lot of gratitude to be able to be in the position to help do that.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. That's exciting stuff. Do you have a date yet for when the movie's coming?
Well, the movie is actually the first thing that, we have a new platform, and I think I mentioned it earlier, so this will be a little bit of an ad, everybody, sponsorship. Perfect. But we have a platform where people come in community to be with each other, and there's all sorts of different offerings that happened, that are posted and so on. And then there's the Inner Academy is where we have all of our courses, like Enlightenment, Intimacy with All Things, and many others, with not just Ram Dass, but Jack Kornfield and Sharon Salzberg and Roshi Joan Halifax and Joseph Cole. Just amazing teachers that we've been close to over the years. So that is there, and that there's a monthly thing. It's like $18 a month, something. You have access to hundreds of hours. I mean, just incredible material. That movie is now available there if you are a subscriber. And you go to ramdass.org, and you'll be led into, and just put in Inner Academy, and you'll be able to get there. But because there are people that aren't interested in becoming part of the community that way, they just want to see the film. So it should be up, to answer the question. I'm just making arrangements for it to be available through the TVOD people, Amazon and Apple and Google, YouTube. So, yeah, I mean, if people really want to feel connected to the kind of work that we do, representing Ram Dass, Neem Karoli Baba, and all the other teachers in our family, just put your email into ramdass.org, and we send out every week different. Some of it is not just saying, hey, you can join a course or a retreat. Some of it's got wonderful content around how do we get through what we're going through right now in our own backyard? How do we deal with the anxiety that's causing? How do we deal with the anxiety of famines around the world, of what's going on in Sudan, what's going on in Gaza, all of it? How do we manage to deal with that within ourselves, to not become just an angry or depressed person, and at the same time, whatever it is we can do to help affect change, that we can do that, but not in a way that is further polarizing. So that's who we are. That's what we offer.
Yeah. Thank you. I cannot recommend Inner Academy enough. That was a great plug that I was going to do even more of. I truly can. This isn't just coming from anywhere else. I've been on that platform or getting these lectures for a long time now, these really wonderful courses. Back when I was a physician assistant in Oregon, working at a low-income health center, middle of COVID, refugee intake center as well, a lot of suffering. I was literally doing one of the courses that was really around kind of burnout, compassion fatigue, every lunch break, every drive to and from work. And it gave me the spiritual sustenance, that's the best way I could put it, to keep doing the work. I was so grateful for that. And it's only gotten better and better since then. And it's even less than $18 a month if you pay for a year. And the app, Mighty Networks, is so good. It's better than it was back in the day when I was using it before. So easy to go between a laptop and your phone with it. It remembers your view of your place on the different lectures and videos seamlessly. There's a great community integration. Cannot recommend it enough from the heart. Of course, we're going to link to all this here, but really wonderful resource. And I didn't even know the movie was on there. I'm so excited to get to check it out.
And never mind, we need to get this little clip of you, this testimonial you just did. Can we get that and put that somewhere?
Absolutely. And Raghu, for you, anytime, but absolutely, we can absolutely send you that. And I'll say it again and again, because it's a wonderful community, really. Love, serve, remember, and you're doing a great job, especially with that remember part, documenting these incredible things and spreading them and remembering. So thank you for the work you're doing. It's been incredibly impactful to me, and I know many others.
Oh, thank you for saying that. That's really wonderful to get that kind of feedback. I mean, it's been quite a lot of years now. I mean, before that I had a record label, I was doing marketing before that, and so that's what I mean what I say when I say I have a lot of gratitude around having the ability, by virtue of everything, who I've known, Ram Dass, Maharaj, all of it, I mean, this is just real grace. I'm fortunate. So thank you. Again, that kind of feedback is really invaluable for us.
And
Yeah.
I'm glad. I'll keep giving it. Well, I know that you have an out, so it's been fantastic. And one way we like to end this podcast, Do You Feel Heard, is to make sure that there's nothing that is still on your mind, anything else you want to get out. So, Raghu, do you feel heard?
Say that last line again?
Do you feel heard?
Heard.
Is there anything else?
Heard.
Yeah,
Do I feel heard? Well, having a podcast, I sure am being heard. Yeah. No, absolutely. For me, I delight in, meeting. I mean, Derrick, we have met and we just saw each other a month ago. But it really is wonderful to be able to get with people. That's what satsang is all about. Sangha, community. That we have the same aim. And when you have that really buoys up all of the other stuff that we constantly deal with, on a day-to-day basis. Our minds and our thoughts and our relationships and our just ways of how many different ways can we feel bad about ourselves, So once we come here, and that's why this is such a great thing. That's why I keep doing it, honestly. I mean, it's really about satsang. It's why these retreats that you've been at and so on, they are so invigorating, and it's Christ's thing, where 2 or 3 or more are gathered in my name, right?
I was thinking the same quote. I was almost said it. I can't believe you did. Yeah. It's incredible.
Yeah,
that's what it is. That's what this is.
Maharaji turned to us one day and said, "Did you read his book?" And I go, "Not me. We're all like, what book?" And he kept saying, his book. And someone said, "You mean the Bible? The Old Testament?" Yeah, that book. I thought we were coming to a Hindu guru. And that's my famous story of asking him, here's a good note to end on, how to meditate. And I was really saying, can I have a mantra? I figured it's the right thing to do in the right place, right? You meditate like Christ. He was lost in love. He felt no pain. He was one with everyone. Something like that, right? Mm-hmm. And so next day we went back with Ram Dass. He wasn't there that day. And I said, "Ram Dass, you ask him because you have a more convivial relationship, him." And he said, "Okay, how did Christ meditate?" And then Maharaji just went back, closed his eyes, and tears came down his cheeks. And we were all like stunned, in this moment. And he said, "You don't understand. Over and over and over, you don't understand. You don't understand. He was lost in love with every sentient being. He lived for all of us. He never died. He never died. Over and over." And basically we had Christ Darshan. And that was the end of any kind of secular anything, And he used to say, there's only one. There's only one thing going on. In Hindi, it's sabek. It's all one. So we just keep that in mind. And, being able to help get people to realize that is a reality. Now, of course, through psychedelics, you realize that as well. But as he said, you have to leave after a couple of hours of being in Christ's presence and so on. So, yeah.
Fantastic. What a great way to end it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
thank you so much. Yeah. Wonderful. Ian, do you feel heard?
Oh, I definitely feel heard. Thank you so much, Raghu. Really appreciate your time. Thank you for all that you've done. The Be Here Now podcast has, shifted so many perspectives for me. I love your involvement with that. Thank you for being involved and bringing that forward. And I can't wait to see all the things that you have left to share. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Me too.
All right, listeners. Well, we're going to link to everything in the show notes. Raghu, thank you so much for coming on. You are welcome back anytime. And Thanks
I
for
want to
all
run
you've
into
done.
you
Keep
in a
doing.
retreat or something. Both of you.
You will. Absolutely. I'll
Absolutely.
get
We
into
can-
a retreat
And we
soon.
can plan. We can make a plan for it as well. I'd love to connect with you in real
Let's
time,
do it.
in person.
Yes, as they say in India, chalo, let's go.
Chalo.
All right.
Let's go.
Bye,
All right,
everybody.
everyone. Well, thank you for listening.
This has been the Do You Feel Heard podcast. If you're interested in resources that will help you move through conflict, you can go to doyoufeelheard.com, where we have tools for individuals and couples.